Welcome to another episode of Talking Nerdy in the Bedroom with
Corey,
KJ,
and Mike.
Today is our 25th episode. That's means like 25 hours of us talking. Doesn't feel like
way
that much.
more than that.
Well, when
I mean,
it's
you
edited
trim it,
down.
yeah, you trim it down. I mean,
yeah, it's definitely been trimmed quite a bit.
You cut out like 45 minutes of Corey telling how you're wrong about things and then proving that you're wrong.
And all the hours and hours of Corey sniffling and making noises and Mike holding a bottle in his hand.
Good
makes
subject change.
No noise.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a good one.
That makes no noise. No, we were talking about all the things I cut. That's one of those things.
I think Mike was more highlighting that you cut out all the times you're wrong.
I also cut out all the randomness.
It
that
just
we
so
have in
happens
this
that he's
podcast.
the one doing the editing.
yeah.
I mean, if you guys would like to do the editing, I'm happy to turn over the reins. Have at it, boys.
Oh, it's going to be way more than an hour then. For keeping in all the substantial shit.
So we're going to go to a 5-minute podcast? There's nothing substantial in what we talk about. We've been doing this long enough to know.
25 times.
It's true. It is true. 25 times. Corey's been with us 24 of those.
Oof.
23, right?
What, you missed 2?
I thought that's what you said.
No, I think you've only missed 1.
I missed the
Nerdy
nerdy one.
Nerdy news, yeah.
Then-
and then we had one with Casey.
Yeah, you had one with
Without
Casey.
him. God,
without
you
me.
suck. You can't even show up.
Well, the difference is when you're like at camp, we don't record.
Who
but
tried
if
to
I
get
have
us to do a
something
double
going on-
episode?
Huh?
Who tried to get us to do a double episode? Oh, I don't have time. My kid's got football. Understandable.
Yes, well,
But still.
if we were all lonely bastards with nothing better to do, we'd be here.
Maybe you guys would show up on fucking time. Maybe we could knock a couple of these out. All right. So today we're going to be talking about TV for Everyone, which is where we did something a little bit special for our 25th anniversary. We all picked a show that we've watched, and we made the other one start watching it.
And this is not to be confused with TV that's for everyone, because some of these shows
That's
shouldn't
true.
be watched by
Yeah.
everyone.
Misfits definitely, and Yellowstone has its moments that it shouldn't be watched by everyone.
pretty-
Probably not
violent.
good for kids.
No,
Although-
violent, nudity, language.
Battlestar hates kids.
Only in the beginning.
Only in multiple episodes.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
They
It's really only
don't like
2.
kids.
So I was wondering what you're talking
She
about. with
killed
the
a
second one.
fucking baby.
Yeah, well that.
Oh,
she's
yeah,
a,
that was in
She's
the
a robot,
miniseries.
dog.
All right,
So?
hang on. So the 3, we got Misfits, we got Battlestar Galactica, and we got Yellowstone. Mike picked Yellowstone,
Yeah.
Corey picked Battlestar Galactica,
Hates
I
kids.
pissed Misfits. So let's start with Battlestar Galactica, because we're already talking about it, and let's talk about also that the pilot, that's not a pilot, it's a mini-series, which aired a year before the show actually started airing. So it wasn't even really like a pilot. They did a mini-series, which you could have said wrapped up the little series, because it's a remake of like a show from the 1970s. But then they did a TV show of it and basically continued off right where they had left off anyway. What did you guys think of the mini-series itself? Because as a standalone, it didn't have to keep going if it didn't want to. It seemed to wrap most things up in the sense that they were still on the run, sure, but there was nothing there that they had to keep going.
I think that would have been dumb if they just did nothing after that.
Well, if there was no fanfare for it, that's what would have happened.
I understand, but to me, it would have just been a failed pilot at that point.
Oh, I liked the miniseries. I feel like the miniseries is more cohesive than so
Right,
far
but,
the
like,
episodes have been.
It starts building you up on a few
I know.
characters just
Yeah.
to be like,
Isn't that
nope.
what almost every movie does? Like you get built
Yeah,
up
but
on
they
something and
didn't-
it's 2 hours and it's over.
But there was literally no completion to any of the arcs. You know that
they got away. That was the arc.
Sure, but there's all this stuff in Gaius' head, and like you don't know what anything's going on, and
Yeah.
there's no
Nothing
I would
is
not have
fleshed
liked
out.
that.
Yeah.
There
Well,
was literally no conclusion.
What
to
do
any
you
of it.
do then? Like, so
It'd be like watching the
internet
first
was a
5
thing.
episodes of Lost, and then just being like, you know what? They're on an island. That's
Yeah,
the end of their arc.
the issue with Lost is, though, you got a season finale. Here you got a miniseries with no hope that they were going to continue it on until you found out 5-6 months later, hey, we've actually picked up the show. We're actually going to start airing
I'm pretty
it.
sure they were, treated it like a proof of concept, which very similar to a pilot, but they were, instead of trying to pitch a show, they pitched a miniseries hoping that it would lead to the show.
I'm sure they were hoping it would lead to the show. It also
But
felt the whole point seemed to be like an homage to the 1970s show to say like, hey, we can do this too.
Yeah.
I will say though, for being in I guess we've come a long way technology wise, but some of the CGI in that show is awful.
Well,
but
it was
2007.
You got to remember this was like one of probably the first show on Sci-Fi with any kind of budget. That Sci-Fi the channel.
The channel.
So like they didn't have a ton of money to work with, and then on top of that, like TV CGI, especially at that time, was never really that great because it's not where people were dumping budget. Like movie CGI, sure,
yeah,
but not.
Well,
not
I will
TV.
definitely say too, the miniseries seem to have more of a budget for their CGI than the TV show has had, because some of the graphics or the CGI within the miniseries outshine what's been in the TV show for the first 6 episodes that I've watched.
The one thing I would say is like the only CGI that's really problematic for me is when you see like the
Cylon robots.
The Cylon robots. Yeah. They look a little bit like the original Terminator movie to me, where like it's very wonky when they walk.
clunky.
But
Yeah, very clunky.
Yeah.
I think it seemed to be like the point that they were supposed to be clunky, and then they advanced to these. They looked like humans.
I guess I'm saying like the graphics looked
yeah.
clunky. Yeah. It felt a little bit like, somebody was marionetting them across the screen or something.
So did you watch this back when it first came out?
No. So I don't remember who suggested
Was
it
it
to me.
Dwight from The Office?
No, I actually think it was a guy named Zach suggested it to me and like let me borrow the box set, and so I watched it. But
VHS?
no, it was DVD.
Are you lying to
or
me?
Blu-ray? I don't remember.
Betamax?
No, but this was the one that like. So I've always liked Star Wars and stuff and Star Trek, but I never really tried a lot of other sci-fi because I just figured it was kind of like B-rated crap. So this one I tried, and then from this I was like, oh, now I got to try all these other shows.
So for Battlestar Galactica, you didn't watch it when it first came out. Someone told you about it.
Yeah.
Was there, Mike, you like things like this. Was there a reason that you never watched it way back when, or even within the last decade?
There's, again, just so much content out there that I haven't watched that I've wanted to get around to. So this was another one of the shows that I've heard is really good. There's a big following
Did you
on
know
it.
that it was a thing when it first came out, or was it years later that you knew about it?
I mean, I've known it's been a thing for a really long time. I've seen some of the episodes of original Battlestar Galactica.
Oh,
with,
The
like the
1978
that's rough.
one?
it's
1980 or 78 or
78.
something.
yeah, it's different. Like I don't
That's a nice way of putting it.
like the Cylons look like
What they should look
they
like
like
in 1978?
stormtrooper kind of hats with like the thing
with
that
the
comes back
visor.
and forth. Yeah. It's rough.
Yeah.
But
And
I've seen some of that, and I always attributed new Battlestar to that, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's going to be something I'm going to be interested in.
I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, I think you watched through episode 5 at least.
Yeah.
There's the guy in the prison.
Yeah.
That's like the leader of the prisoners
It's
or whatever.
Episode 3.
Yeah, Sarek or something.
Yeah.
His name is. He was in the original show, I'm pretty sure, and was like the main character. So I just thought that was
Nice
kind of
little
cool.
homage to him to have him in there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also just, before we dive too deep into it, they're in the works of making a movie, and producers from the Batman and
Is it a continuation from the series or a
I don't
redone
know.
retelling?
I don't know. And then they're also talking about rebooting, not restarting the series, but doing a continuation series.
So Battlestar really feels like Orville took a lot of it from that instead of, like, it looked like it took the screenwrite from Battlestar and then everything else from Star Trek. Like the robots,
Oh, yeah, okay. I see what you mean.
like this alien race that they create and then tries to
but they're
destroy.
not Cylons, they're Kalons.
Kalon, right? Yeah, exactly. That's what
But
I'm
I
saying.
think that's the point. It was supposed to be like a parody, but then Orville's just gotten more and more serious as it's gone. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So
But
I saw.
Kalon and Cylon.
Yeah.
I love that.
Did you guys know that it was ranked in the 100 best TV shows of all time?
I'm not surprised.
It's 95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's good.
High.
I liked it.
That was my favorite thing about suggesting it, is I knew, like, I'm glad you don't hate it, KJ.
No, I don't hate. I mean, I could have stopped because again, the miniseries is at least 2 episodes, if not 4, and then I could have watched a couple more. I'm on episode 6 now. I'll probably continue to watch it. I'm not hooked on it by any stretch of the imagination. If something else comes by that I really want to watch, I'm going to watch it. But I'm interested to see what happens with these characters. I'm interested in the story.
Yeah, I'm invested.
I thought
the
see,
acting
that's what
has
I
been better than I thought, too.
Well, I mean, they have a really good cast.
I know, but when you think about a sci-fi show that's on sci-fi, you're not thinking, oh my god, the acting.
Dark matter,
right. That's
man.
why this show, like, built sci-fi the cred to make new shows. Now, granted, they all haven't been gems, but, like, Dark Matter was pretty good.
Really good.
I like that one.
They got 19 Emmy nominations off this, and three
it's
wins.
Really good writing. Like,
it's mostly the writing that got it, too.
dude, any scene with
you have
Adama...
Captain Adama,
yeah.
Well, not Captain. Well, Captain Adama's good too, but Admiral Adama.
Commander.
Yeah. Whenever he's like in a scene, especially like him and Starbuck have some emotional scenes.
Well, the scene where when they have to try to get her, I just watched that episode 5, where she crashes on a planet, and then everybody's like, we need to leave her, and he is like adamant, we're not leaving her, and all this other stuff.
Oh, when he's on the phone with the president.
Or when he tells his XO, you're
relieved.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, damn, that's some good acting right there.
Then he has that conversation with his son too. He's like, would you have left? And he's like, we have never left.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they're really good.
So when I had the box set, when I had borrowed it, I watched some of the behind the scenes stuff, and like the cast treats, I don't know what his name is, the actor, but the guy who plays Bill Adama, they treat him like he's like basically how they treat, the characters treat him, because he's an actor with a lot of experience, and they all were like, we took so much like acting advice from him. He's the best actor on the show.
Almost.
Yeah. So, but everybody was just like obsessed with him. Yeah, I don't know. It is just a really good script, and like it gets. I thought you would like it because even though you're not as big on sci-fi as me and him are, it has those elements that I know you liked in Lost, where like there's an underlying mystery aspect of like you don't really know, like these Cylons that look like human. There's more to it.
Speaking of that, we've watched The League. I don't think Mike's watched The League, but in The League, there's that episode where they do that thing where Pete has to watch this entire series. Yeah. Is that making fun of Battlestar Galactica? Because you don't know who's who, and one of them could be this other thing, and it's a time jump within a schism. That part hasn't happened in Battlestar Galactica, but it seemed to be like a more futuristic type of thing with robots taking over who can look like us.
I think they might have pulled aspects from it, but no.
I didn't know if it was like a parody.
No, it's not a direct parody. It sounds like they were just making us show
sci-fi.
Yeah.
When did you get hooked on the show when you started watching it for this podcast? Was it right away within the miniseries, or did you have to get through certain parts of the miniseries to go, yep, I'm going to just keep watching this show?
I don't know. I mean, I watched the miniseries and then kept watching to try to get, a couple episodes in to get a feel for it. And I like Adama. He's a good actor. The like Corey said, the screenwriting is very good. It's very sci-fi. You're on a bunch of ships, and the only thing that I understand, because the Cylon can like attack computers, that everything is like disconnected, but just some of the aspects of a ship that has an FTL drive yet still uses corded phones, and like all the mapping and everything is all like paper mapping, and every time they get like orders, they get like a fax machine.
I always thought their fax machine paper was always funny. It's not a square.
Did you see their books?
I did.
The books are the same thing. They're like octagon shaped.
Also,
the corners are all gone.
By the way, did you guys know going into this, it wasn't Earth that got blown up in the beginning?
Yeah, well,
I assumed it was Earth, or like a different variation of Earth, until he gave that speech at the end of the miniseries that they're going to go find Earth.
Yeah.
I was just like, that wasn't Earth? I know they kept calling it like the colonies and Caprica or whatever it's called.
Yeah, the 12 colonies.
Yeah. So I was expecting something, but I still thought that it was Earth. Like, it gave every representation that it was Earth.
Yeah, I think you probably just assume that because it's a habitable... You know, it doesn't look like Mars or something.
And the people look like us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, well, anyway, the more you watch the show, the more some of that makes more sense. But And yeah, to Mike's point, like I know why you're saying that. It's a bit weird, but the ship they're on was a remnant of the first Cylon War.
Right.
And so like that's why it's set up that way, which I know you already said, but like that's the explanation for it is, and that's why the rest of the fleet got destroyed, because they were all the ships you would expect to see with like, computer, what's the weather outside today and stuff in it. But yeah, I don't know.
I just feel like the human race kind of dropped the ball, just being like, yeah, we're having armistice with the Cylons. 40 years goes by. Yeah, we're just going to decommission all these ships. We haven't talked to the Cylons in 40 years. In fact, they haven't even showed up for any of their...
I don't think that we knew that the Cylons would have like a quote-unquote off switch to all of our ships.
Right, but they haven't done... They decommissioned all of these ships.
And they were about to decommission the Battlestar Galactica.
And they had no preparation for...
Well, I actually think the new ship shouldn't have been... Like, the Cylons shouldn't have been able to do what they did, except Gaius Baltar built in a back door for the new software that they implemented on all the ships.
Right.
So the fact that they
for 40 years, the diplomat doesn't show up to this space station and nobody bats an eye?
Correct.
Well, yeah, I think they were hoping that they had just
wanted to have peace talks, and so that's why they set it up.
So they don't have any way of knowing that the entire fleet is headed towards Caprica whatsoever. They don't know anything. It blows my mind that you have this entire war with this advanced civilization, and then you're just like, yep, war is over. 40 years goes by. We have no idea what they're doing. They're just out there somewhere. They never show up to these peace talks for 40 years.
Well, there was a peace talk to begin with, right? There was
an original and armistice, and then it says for 40 years,
every
the
year,
human race shows up.
Yeah,
and then
and
the other
the
other person doesn't show up, and they're not like, yeah, this is okay.
Well, they also don't know where they are within the universe, so I think trying to find them would have been hard afterwards. Even if you were trying to keep tabs on them.
Yeah, they don't know where the Cylons' home planet is,
or if even they have one.
Right, they just know they've left to find a home planet.
Yes.
And you don't think for 40 years that they would search for it?
Let's say they did. Let's say they did for 40 years. You're not telling me you're going to search everything in 40 years.
I mean, if a bear wanders over into, your yard, you don't and then it leaves your yard, you don't necessarily follow it and try to poke it with a stick.
I don't know if I'm having
I would if I had a bear attack war at my house, for sure.
What kind of war is that?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like they had a war. It'd be like
I survived the bear wars.
I've
seen some shit.
Like if the United States goes to war with Germany, right? Yeah. And then Germany loses the war, that'd be us just being like, okay,
I think that happened.
Close one eye. Yeah, but and then
but we pay attention to them
exactly.
A lot.
It's like we just like, okay, well, yeah, the Germans are defeated.
But that's not
We're gonna leave them alone now.
That's not a good example because they didn't defeat the Cylons. They just had a armistice. So I think a better example is when the North Korean War, we never won. We just declared a ceasefire, and that's why there's still the demilitarized zone between the border.
But we still watch them too.
We watch them as much as we can, but we don't necessarily enter their country.
100%. We've entered their country. 100%.
Well, okay.
Yeah, we know,
but we're not. But
we don't have a base there like we do in Germany, though.
Sure, but if we have a world, it's a lot easier because there's only so much space on the Earth or Caprica or whatever we're calling it. And when you're talking about the entire galaxies / other galaxies / whatever else within this sci-fi universe, it's very hard to see everything.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about like when they have FTL drives, right? They point in a direction and go that way. There's no chance we're going to be able to find them.
Although I will say the Cylons found them every time they used the FTL thing.
That's because they were tracking them.
Not that one, but even after that. Then those 8 ships came, and that's when What's-Her-Face got shot down.
So you say that, but there were still Cylons on the ships.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know how their communication works back and forth
I don't know.
either.
God, apparently. Have you got... They talk about God a lot, too.
So, with this show, you're going to keep watching it, right, Mike? You're going to finish it out?
Yeah, I have to know why we just left them alone for 40 years.
That's the only reason to answer that one question.
Yeah. What the fuck were you thinking?
It's in the very last episode. They're just like...
Hopefully. By the way,
we've been
fucked
through a
up.
lot of shit these 4 years.
Let's move on to Mike's pick, Yellowstone, which is actually probably the most recent show out of all of these by a large margin, as it's still airing episodes and it's about to have a new season next month, right? A few weeks from now?
2
Yeah,
weeks?
a few weeks, yeah.
11th, November 11th.
So when did with you the one recommending this show, when did you start liking the show? Why'd you start liking the show? And why'd you recommend it to us?
Because it was available on
Peacock?
Yep, to watch. And we heard about it. I don't know. My old lady started watching it and she's like, this is really good. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I'll watch it too. And I'm a big fan of Kevin Costner. I like a lot of his movies.
I don't
Dancing
know how
with
you
Wolves,
can't be.
Waterworld.
Yeah.
So.
Well, if the only movie you saw was Postman, you probably wouldn't be a big
I
fan.
don't think that'd be the only movie you'd see.
I'm just saying you wouldn't be a fan at that point. Field of Dreams, though. I mean,
Yeah, Field of Dreams is really good.
Yeah.
So, did you only recently start watching this, or have you been watching it the last couple of years?
I think I watched it last year, and then the most recent season when it came out. When the most recent season came out, I watched it as it came out.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was last year.
Yeah.
And then you recommended it to us because it was a show that you're very well. To be fair, you've mentioned Yellowstone quite a few times in the last few months.
It's really good.
Yeah. So you started watching this show earlier this year. Were you excited for it? Was it something that you heard about, something that made you want to go, yes, this is a show I need to watch? Or is it just Kevin Costner?
no, I had heard about it, and I mean, you like Sons of Anarchy, and I did too.
What does that have to do with anything?
If you let me get there, I'll get there.
You paused. Because
Okay,
you looked at me
because I
made a
saw
face.
your face
Right,
immediately
so-
go, well, that's fucking dumb.
No,
So
what does that have to do with it? I was asking a question. That's how
They're both
conversations
Kevin
happen.
Costner
So
movies.
Sons
of Anarchy is not Kevin
It's a
Costner.
Kevin Costner movie.
when I looked at it from without having watched it yet, I got the same vibe I did from Sons of Anarchy. I don't care about biking and stuff, but everything I had heard was the story was what was really good about it. Same thing with Sons of Anarchy. So I was like, because what surprised me is I was hearing it was good from people who aren't people who would care about the ranching life and that stuff. And that's the same thing with like Sons of Anarchy. I got that same, people loved it, even though they don't ride motorcycles, they don't care about any of that stuff.
That makes more sense. I'm glad you kept going.
Well, that's what I was getting
Because just
to.
of saying like it's good writing, well, you could say that about Battlestar Galactica
Yeah,
too.
some of the scenes on Yellowstone I just don't care about. Like, when they're like riding around on horses, like literally just like that's it. That's the whole clip for like 5 minutes. They're like doing their, I don't know.
To be fair, that's what they love to do.
But there's people that like specifically like the show because they like the horses and they like the cowboy lifestyle and things like that.
Yeah, well, that's like Sons of Anarchy is the same way. There are people who watch it because I'm a biker.
Motorcycle,
like
yeah,
this.
exactly.
But like, I didn't care about that so much as I
like
the story.
seeing people get shot.
No, I like this story, and like there's like a brotherhood in their club and stuff, and it was kind of cool. I mean, granted, at a certain point, it got a little bit over the top for my liking.
100% it did.
But Yellowstone very much similar is like they have this brotherhood with the guys who are branded and like
the Wranglers.
And Rip is just like he's not only a badass, but I like his devotion to the Dutton family, especially Mr. Dutton. You guys have watched everything, right? So two of my favorite scenes is the one where Kevin Costner, Mr. Dutton, leaves the note with Beth for Rip, and he leaves him that it's like a lodge or something. He gives him the house.
Oh, gives him the house. Yeah.
But his letter where he's like, I thought I failed because I didn't have enough sons, but then I looked around me and realized I did. And like Rip
you cried,
gets
didn't you?
emotional.
You cried.
No, I didn't cry. But I was like, he got a daddy. Like that's and then the second scene is more of a badass scene. It's when Beth's being attacked in her office.
100%.
And he just
comes in and starts killing them all.
Well, he just takes the bullet,
dude,
too.
He throws the chair through the glass. The guy looks up and shoots him, and he's just
walks right through it.
And then he takes the guy and like gouges his eye. Oh my god!
It was such a good scene.
Badass.
If Rip wasn't your favorite character by then, which for me he already was, how could he not be?
Yeah, it's funny because I really felt like they were trying to push Casey as like the ex-military badass a lot, and I was like, I don't care. Talk to me when you freaking take a bullet and then gouge guys' eyes out.
Well,
You're
true,
just
but
shooting
like
people from afar.
Casey, when he goes into like that other building, like when he goes after the
Yeah, I get it. He's badass.
yeah,
but
but
it's
he's more methodical. He's not like Rip is a sledgehammer.
Yes.
Whereas,
Casey's
Casey
a
is like,
scalpel.
yeah, exactly. Like he goes in with a silenced handgun, it starts taking people out like one by one. Rip is just like, I'm going to rip you in half like a phone book.
Well, I will say that I same as Corey, I feel like they were pushing Casey towards that, and then I don't know if they got fan feedback after the first season and then started pushing Rip, or if this was always their plan, I don't know. But it definitely seemed like Rip took more of a main center focus as season 1 progressed, and then especially season 2, and now as we got to season 3 and 4. He was always expected to be a main character, as he's like a famous actor too. He's been in a bunch of things, but he isn't
too furious.
Rip?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's too fast, too furious. He's the bad guy in that.
I don't remember that shitty movie.
How dare you, sir?
So that scene where he takes the bullet, the first thing that popped in my head, you've seen Con Air, right? Nick Cage?
Yeah.
When the guy's like dying his friend, and he's like, I'm starting to think, like, what if God doesn't exist? He's like, I'll show you God does exist. And he gets up and takes a bullet in the arm and just walks
I
through
will
it.
say a little bit different with that bullet. It's literally a wing. Like
know,
it's
I
a
know.
little scratch compared to getting shot.
Yeah, he gets like a gut shot, too.
Yeah. What did you guys think about Beth's character in the first couple seasons? Because for me, that was the worst character. And she eventually... Beth.
I thought you said best character.
Oh, no,
and
no,
I was
Beth.
Like, Rip, but yeah.
No, Beth. I hated her in the first couple seasons, and then when they started to explain her character, which they did at the end or the beginning of the third season, definitely as they progress through the
Well, I
fourth
think you're
season.
supposed to hate her. She's not a great person, and then you understand why as you go on through the series.
Yes, and that's exactly how I felt. So I was wondering if you guys liked her to begin with, or if you followed what I did and like hated her and then liked her.
I think she was fun to hate. Like, she was a good character to have in the
I
show.
thought she was annoying. in the beginning.
Exactly. I think she's annoying
Yeah.
on purpose. Like always over the top.
Very over the top, yeah.
But again, she's one of those like rich daddy's girl. There's no way I can get in trouble kind of deal.
I don't know if I really got that vibe.
That's the exact vibe I got off the first
Really?
season.
Yeah.
Off the first season, yes.
Maybe
After
I'm
is it-
misremembering the first season.
Like she's always driving around in like $100,000 car.
Yeah, but that's not because her dad bought it.
Well, true, but that's like the lifestyle that they've been brought up in. I mean, the Dutton Ranch they make a lot of money. Like she said, like their annual revenue was like $5 million.
Yeah, but they also are barely staying afloat. So that's
barely staying
not their
afloat at
profit.
$5 million.
No, that's not how much they're making.
So $5 million is what they make every year, and then
It's their
their gross, and then their net profit is like $500,000.
Yeah,
Still a lot of money.
Yeah.
Still a lot of money, but not like
but not
$5 million.
split 4 or 5
Yeah,
ways.
I get the daddy took care of me my whole life kind of vibe.
No,
Wow, I didn't get that because obviously she killed her mom.
Well, she just failed to save her mom.
Sure, but it felt like he was blaming her.
Oh, yeah,
She
yeah.
felt like she was being blamed, so that's what I got. But I just got her being spoiled. So I got that too, Mike, but it didn't seem to be because of her dad. So I don't know where it came from. But as she went out into the world and you see her take over these companies and do all this stuff, it just like boosts that ego of hers that she can do whatever she wants without there being any consequences. And then during this show, she has consequences. And
see, I didn't think so. My vibe from her was always, I can do whatever I want because I don't care about the consequences. Not that like I don't think there are going to be them.
Right,
It's
but
just
where do you
been
get
so
that?
shit throughout the years that I don't care. Nothing can phase me kind of attitude.
But see, that I don't disagree with because I think she has a moment where she talks to her dad where she specifically says, I'll do anything for you. It doesn't matter what happens.
I will give you $5 if you say I agree with you instead of I don't disagree.
I cannot say that you're not wrong.
Yeah, I know. Every time you say that, it's like, fuck you, just say you agree.
It's literally the same thing. It's the same thing.
But it's the fact that rather than just saying, I agree with you, Corey, you're going to double negative it up just so
I don't disagree with you.
That's right. Which means I do.
It's so much easier to say, I
Yeah.
agree.
It's easier for you.
You can't stomach it, though.
Can't agree with you.
I know that's why. It drives me nuts.
So what about the
I
conflicts?
disagree, but opposite.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the conflicts in the show? Because it's all about him trying to keep his ranch, but obviously they like ramped it up quite a bit in season 3, I think it was, where they have that whole big giant shootout
At the ranch, you mean?
at the ranch, at her office with Rip.
Yeah, where they try to have them killed.
Yes, and everything even before that, they seem to be. They weren't going as far as Sons of Anarchy.
That didn't really have anything to do with the struggle to keep the ranch, though.
You think that it does
Sure,
when
at
it's
the
happening.
At the time, yeah.
Yes, you think it's completely related.
No, I
to
thought
one
that
thing
was
or the
nuts because, like,
although it kind of does. It has to do with his adopted son's real father having his prison cellmate get a gang together to go murder them.
Jerry, you are not the father, Mr. Dutton.
It's true, he wasn't.
No, but it wasn't so much about the reason he wanted him to have him killed was one, I think, to maintain control over his son.
And revenge.
Right, and revenge, yeah. It wasn't so much like they wanted the ranch. He wanted the money that his son would get from selling the ranch.
Or for his son to take over the ranch.
I think he always wanted, like, my vibe from that guy was, oh, we can make a shit ton of money if we sell the land that these people want to buy, but your father won't do it, your adoptive father. I'm going to kill him, and then you'll be the only one left, and you can sell it, and I'll be rich too. Because he was just a selfish dude.
Did you guys think that he was adopted, by the way?
In the beginning?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't think there's really any strong indication of that.
Third episode in, I believe there's a flashback where he's not seen. All the other kids are seen, and he's not seen. You can make the argument it's because, like, he was a baby or somewhere else, but at that point, I was just like, well, it always just kept with me. I was like, that's weird. And then when they went, he's adopted, I went, oh, fuck, I should go back and watch that episode again.
The storyline where he is like already a 40-year-old lawyer going to be the district of attorney and him not knowing where his own birth certificate is very hard to believe.
Yeah, that is funny.
Like, you are in law. Like, you had to go to Harvard. You had to do all this law stuff, and you don't even know that you're
to go to college.
Yeah, you sure do.
You do not need your birth certificate to go to college. Okay. I've never once had to show my birth certificate, and I've been to 3 different colleges.
Okay, well, maybe they were shitty colleges. I don't know. I had to show mine when I went to UMaine and St. Joe's. Yeah.
No birth certificate.
Birth certificate, social security card.
Yeah.
No.
How do you... Like,
really?
Yeah.
You didn't have to... So
I sent in my transcript, and I had my ID.
What's on your transcript?
That was it. The
like
transcript from high school.
On your high school transcript, you have a birth certificate and your social security card.
What do you mean on my high school transcript there's a birth certificate?
You lost me on that one.
Yeah, no, there's not.
My high school transcript. When you go to high school,
but your transcript's just your grades, you're saying.
Okay, well, to enroll.
Yeah, your high school
How do you go all through life not knowing that you're adopted?
Well, there's tons of people that go through life not knowing they're adopted.
But he's never seen his birth certificate?
Yeah, but he also took and passed the bar. You would definitely have to show your...
That I don't know, but I would assume you have to.
Yeah, maybe it's different at certain... I had to at both my
That's what I'm saying. Like, as a lawyer, going to be the district attorney, it's very far-fetched that you don't ever see your birth certificate. In 40 years?
I only just... When we got our passports, when we went to Vegas in 2018, first time I've ever went and got my birth certificate.
Well... I don't know. You lived out in the middle of
nowhere. 4 years ago,
and I didn't have them back then.
I'm 34, so I went 30 years without it. But granted, I'm not a lawyer. I wasn't an ADA or then trying to become a DA. I lived in rural Maine for most of it. Yeah. But either way, like I can understand somebody.
It was normal people,
people not needing it, but him in his line of profession. I would automatically assume he should have already known.
Yeah, it's such a far... Like, as soon as he's like, she's like, oh, I can't find your birth certificate under this name. It's so...
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so unbelievable.
I thought that was weird, too.
I would have assumed. It's not like... If he had never been elected to office or worked his way up through the office, I would agree with that it potentially could make sense. Like, let's say Beth was first running because they wanted her to run for something...
Well, not to mention, he's the attorney general at that point, right?
No, he hasn't been sworn in yet.
Yeah,
he
he's running for attorney general.
Okay, but he is the one that they've selected to be Attorney General.
Yeah,
Yes.
but he's already the Assistant Attorney
What kind
General.
of state is this where there's no, like, when we have a new Attorney General in the state of Maine, they go through a, what do they call it? A vetting process?
Yeah.
Nobody vetted him, and we're like, hey,
It sounds like they
you
already
don't
knew.
exist.
No. Well, the mayor, I'm sure she knew. It sounded like almost everybody but him knew he was adopted. And everybody was just in on the
Well, his
secret.
siblings didn't.
What's her face definitely? Beth definitely knew.
Beth did not know.
Beth did know.
Why do you say
Because
Beth
she
knew?
makes so many comments about not him, he wouldn't put the family first, and all these things that then add up to him being that.
But she's saying that because of the thing he did to her with the baby.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has
There's
nothing to
never
do
a
with
moment
her.
where God, what's the name of the dad? John
Dutton.
Where John tells her. So when does she find out then?
that he's adopted.
Yeah. And then
I don't-
Casey only comes to him, or what's the other guy's name? The one that we're talking about that's adopted.
Well, you also
Jamie.
remember that.
What?
Jamie.
Jamie goes to Casey and is like, do I have to blah, 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 blah. You'll always be my brother.
But you also have to understand there's a time jump too after the bombing goes off. So
Bombing? Oh, you mean the shooting and the shootouts and whatnot.
There's
Is that before that?
because his dad's the one who orchestrated. The
I know
whole thing.
that,
Yeah.
but I still thought they had when he found out. It's not like the next episode.
Yeah,
it's way after.
Yeah, the attack is way after.
It's at the
'cause
end
he's
of
already
that
met
season.
his dad by then.
Yeah, he's already met his
And then
dad.
his
by
dad-
then.
Oh, I understand, but I'm saying that the stuff where Beth and Casey don't know about it until after,
Why are you saying that?
because when what's his face Casey goes and talks to him, the scene you're talking about is after the bombing.
No, it's before.
I don't think that's true, but that's okay.
Yeah,
We're not gonna figure it out right now.
Right.
Yeah.
But either way, it at least appeared to me when I was watching it that they knew, and it seemed like everybody was very well aware that this was a thing, because when he starts asking people, they then have all this historical data of, well, this girl died, and then you were the kid, and then they took you in, and all this other stuff. So it seemed like everybody was in on the secret but him.
Yeah, I don't think the siblings knew beforehand.
I don't
but-
think so either.
Yeah.
What about the mayor? You don't think the mayor knew?
The mayor probably knew.
Because
So, the governor?
yeah, the
Governor,
governor.
Okay, I'm
Sorry.
like, who the fuck's the mayor?
Yeah,
You kept
I
saying
meant,
mayor,
I
and
meant
was
governor. Yeah.
like, did we meet a mayor?
Yeah.
But no, the governor.
I probably, I don't know. Maybe John told her when they
Well,
were
Yeah,
banging.
because they're good friends, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Not only that, if he's in that office, I assume like he's probably had to. I have to assume that the birth certificate became an issue before, and John just
like, greased
dealt
the
with it.
wheels or
Yeah, so to
something.
speak.
Yeah.
Or you either saying
Grease
you don't
something.
need it, or you know he's adopted, go away with it, or I'll go
Yeah.
down on you tonight, just let it go. I assume we're all kind of excited for season 5, even though season 4 didn't really end on a cliffhanger.
He's running for governor, right?
He's elected governor?
No, he's
Oh,
not
no,
elected.
that's
He was
in
gonna-
the preview of the new
he
season.
he
so-
wants to run, or he doesn't want to run, but he's gonna run because
'Cause
the other
he's
one's
running
running. His son,
Jamie,
or
yeah.
adopted son.
Yeah.
And Jamie just killed his real dad.
Yeah, shot him in the dome.
Kept him.
Boom! Headshot.
Yeah, basically.
What if he had said that? You're like, oh.
Got him!
So there's got to be
Awkward.
that outtake somewhere, right? So are we excited for season 5? What are we thinking season 5 will be?
John
Good.
being governor. And yeah, I mean,
Do you think it's gonna be good, Corey?
I think it's going to be wicked good.
Wicked good. Oh, that's
Yeah.
throwing in the main stuff right there.
Yeah. It's going to be a ripping, roaring good time. Because rip.
I got it, but I didn't like the roaring part. If you just would have done a ripping good time, I would have been fine with
Well,
it.
the expression is rip and roar.
You can also be
It's
a
rip
ripping good
roaring.
time. Yeah,
Rip,
and-
roaring, good time.
Rip, roaring good time.
Which would also been okay.
But
Yeah.
Rip roars. He's
Does he?
fighting. I don't know.
Let's move on to my pick, which was Misfits. And I saw this show in 2011 or 2012 because I went and visited Nick out in Chicago, and it was randomly on. He's like, you need to watch it. So we put on an episode, and I was like, this show could be really good. And when I got home, I just ran through everything and then waited every year for the new season to come out. That's always been on my list. I probably rewatch this show once every year or two. because it's not that long, because it's a BBC show. Every season has 4 or 5 episodes at the max. So what did you guys think about it overall? Let's start with Mike. How far did you get into it, and what did you think?
I think I'm just into the 2nd season, and it is very BBC.
Oh, very BBC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think it's Kelly, the blonde one, is very hard to understand.
Yeah.
Much more so than Tater.
Oh,
Yes.
yes. Yeah, her accent is like...
Once you get used to it, though, I feel like you can understand her fine, but it takes a long time to get used to.
Yeah, and like understanding some of what their words mean, like, I don't know, they're very British words that I've never heard before.
Mm-hmm.
Like when the guy who plays Klaus,
Nathan.
yeah,
Yep.
whenever he says like some kind of like
Insult or-
derogatory,
yeah.
you had to like try to figure out what it is. She's like, "You got a really fat fanny," and then like fanny,
You know what fanny meant?
it's not ass.
It's pussy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
When
The
someone's
American
like, "Hey, you got a
version
really
is
big fanny,"
that's
that's
the American version, but the British version is pussy. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I
you
was
didn't.
not
All right.
aware of that.
Okay. I will say that through this show, not
There's
that
been a
one.
lot of mix-ups when somebody said, I want to put it in your face.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, that's pretty normal. Oh, what are you doing?
Wrong hole.
I'm sorry, I don't speak that dialect of
speak
English.
British. This English isn't for me.
I had consent.
She said yes. Put it in my fanny. What do you want?
I still love every time any British person calls anybody a twat. It just makes my day.
Well, I like the Australian cunt. That's my favorite because it's
twat.
it's not as offensive as it is over here. Like I think over here, cunt is up there as the most, and then twat is probably shortly there below.
It's twat.
Twat, either one.
Twat
That's what I'm
is
saying. The American,
twat.
like people
Close
call it a
to
twat.
cunt for us.
Yeah, same with twat.
I
Twat is
I did
twat,
not
by the
know
way.
that.
Well, that's like the Americanized version. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
I didn't think.
If you-
twat
if
was
you
that
said
bad.
that to a British
It's
person,
the
they'd
next
be like,
worst
"You're an
word than
idiot."
cunt for cunt.
Well, I wouldn't.
Like what else would be?
for
cunt.
specifically what that is.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, I thought you were saying like the most offensive words
No.
in America or
No,
cunt
for the
twat.
word cunt, it's cunt, twat, then there's a
Well,
bunch of others.
this is non-rated, right?
It's rated explicit.
We've definitely hit our quota otherwise. So.
Twat.
I'm gonna put George Carlin on 7 words you can't say on the radio. So what did you guys think? Well, Corey, what did you think?
Say,
and
yeah,
then,
I don't
well, I was
get
gonna ask about the
excited.
superpowers, but I forgot you haven't talked yet.
Yeah. So I'm on episode 6 of the first season right
Yep.
now. Is
there 6 episodes of the first
Yeah,
season?
I know. You just said 4 to 5, so I wanted to make sure I pointed out that you were wrong. But it's definitely of the 3 shows, it's my least favorite. Having said that, it's a great show. I've been enjoying it.
Well, I will say that about all the shows.
Yeah.
They've been good. Like, they're not shows that I want to turn off by any stretch.
Yeah. Now, I don't know. I feel like this show has the potential to lose my interest over time. I think I tried to watch it a long time ago, and I just got sidetracked on something else. But some of the power, like I know that's what we can just roll right into it, I guess. Some of the powers are not that
Interesting.
entertaining.
There's a whole episode which I think it's the episode you're about on. If you're on episode 6, which is the finale of season 1, there's a whole episode about the guy that can move things with milk.
I haven't seen that guy.
It's the first thing you see in episode 6.
I haven't seen.
Oh, you said I'm on episode 6.
That's the next one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then
So-
that's good. That's not season 1.
That is
Because I'm
season-
on episode 1 of season 2, and Nathan just comes to
Da
life.
da da
Baba!
da da da.
Baba.
He hasn't seen it yet. Yes.
Well, he's dead.
No, he's not. He dies in that episode.
I haven't seen it
He
yet.
dies.
To
His
be
power-
fair, though, I did look up what their powers
His
are.
power is
we
the
told you.
So,
In the whole first
It's
season,
the
you don't
exact
know.
same as Umbrella
and so how,
Academy.
how
He's the
I
same
know,
character,
right? That's
and he
what I
has
was
the
gonna
same
say.
power as Umbrella Academy.
Umbrella Academy. How did you find this
How did you
character
cast
within
it? I
yourself? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I was doing it 3 years in England, but
Way more than that. Yeah.
but it's and then
his real name or
well, I don't
his-
care. But that guy,
I think that's Robert something.
he also was in another superhero show. He was in that Immortals show.
What immortal? Well, he's Ramsey Bolton.
I understand,
From
but remember,
the- but what,
is
yeah.
it called the Immortals? No. What's it called?
You're talking about Simon.
Yeah, but he's in the show with Black Bolt and Black Bolt's wife with the
Inhumans.
Inhumans, yeah.
Yeah,
that got
yeah. He's
canceled.
one of the main characters.
He's the villain. Yeah. But he was also the weird guy in that one too. So I was like, oh, okay. So you're pretty good at playing the weird guy.
You keep going. I don't want to give anything away.
No,
it's
that's
so
fine.
good. The
That's
first
fine.
3 seasons are so good.
Yeah.
And I think if you guys fall off, if you continue to watch it, where you'll fall off is after season 3. That's when
How many seasons are there?
5 or 6.
Oh God.
There are
halfway
5.
through, you fall off.
Yeah. You lose characters because BBC. We've talked about this. BBC isn't great
a lot
with
of those
keeping
characters have moved on to better things, probably too.
Well, they have
Academy.
a problem with keeping contracts for people for good shows.
Yeah.
That's why most BBC shows are only a few.
There's so
seasons
many
long.
people though. Like so the guy who plays Ramsay Bolton, obviously,
Yep.
Catelyn Stark
Is Nathan's mother.
is Nathan's mother.
Yep.
The first kid that dies when the probation officer
The
kills
guy
him.
who's smoking.
That's
the guy who's,
Pip in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's Pip.
And the chick that.
But you realize why some of this is because this is a British show, and that's it's supposed to be like considered over in.
Well, sure, but the other
like, the
people I
English
recognize too. The chick that can make people have sex with her.
Yeah.
She's from that Good Doctor.
Yeah,
From
she's
the
not a
show.
good doctor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is really funny because like she plays a completely different character.
Oh yeah.
She's very like prim and proper.
So it's funny. I told KJ this, but I would have thought, having seen both shows, that she was actually American and did a awful British accent in the Misfits show, because her accent on The Good Doctor sounds more natural to me than her accent on Misfits. It sounds like she's doing a "Hello, governor, I'm British."
No,
It's so
that
bad.
is her accent. She was born in London.
It's so weird to me.
Well,
but I
The
think
other
it's
ones
the
sound
opposite.
authentic to me.
You and I had this conversation. I don't know if Mike, you've seen the show House, right, with Hugh Laurie?
Yeah.
And he's British, but
Right.
does the American accent. For me, because I grew up on House, when I hear his British accent, I feel like he's faking it, and that the American version of his voice is his actual voice, because that's how I associate
Like,
it.
isn't Tom Holland British too?
Tom Holland is British,
Yeah,
yes.
his Sam's the same thing.
Yeah, but when you hear him speak in his native dialect, it sounds
It sounds
correct.
legit.
What I'm saying is this chick in that show, it just sounds like somebody doing a
Exaggerated?
bad, exaggerated British accent. But I guess that's just how she talks. Unless maybe she is. Maybe
she's doing an exaggerated.
doing a different one to take an artistic direction.
I don't think so. I think
Yeah.
that's her voice.
But like the
I wanna
blonde
know-
chick, 100%, that's her normal voice.
Yep.
And it
Kelly.
sounds awful.
I want to know what Kelly's region is.
Like in real life or in the show?
Well, whatever her accent is from, because I know that there's different British accents
Yeah.
based on the location you are.
She was born in Derby, Derbyshire.
Derbyshire.
I'm not kidding.
Just, if you just say
Okay,
that.
so her voice is Derbish. Got
If
it.
you just say Derbyshire, it sounds like her talking.
Yeah. Derbyshire.
It's England. She's
I know,
still-
but that's
still
like
England.
exactly how.
Yeah.
If I was trying to impersonate her and I said those words, I'd be like, "Oh, that's the accent."
Everything's yeah.
She is a great representation of her people.
Oh, they're so damn good in this show. What did you guys think about the premise of it? Of these kids that are basically doing community service get struck by lightning, so do a lot of other people in the world, get struck by lightning, get superpowers. And they're not, it felt like an earlier version that was more crude but less gory than The Boys.
It's stolen from the Flash.
What is stolen from The Flash?
Literally,
Yeah.
the story is stolen from the Flash.
Well, yeah,
The
His
storm,
wasn't a-
the
was it
storm
a
comes
storm?
through, strikes people with lightning, and they get superpowers.
but that's not how the Flash got powers from the original Flash. Got powers from lightning striking chemicals he was working with, and that turned him into the Flash. The
Yeah.
Flash TV show, they have like a collider that
made
Yes.
a giant storm,
makes a giant storm and
uh,
strikes people.
strikes
with
people
lightning.
with, and gives them superpowers.
Yeah, I
but
know,
this show was before the Flash show.
Well, it's not before. It's before the Flash show, yeah, but not before the fucking Flash was made.
No,
Yeah.
but if you're saying when the original Flash,
Yeah,
it
although I
was
don't know
different.
because that might be. They have different versions of the Flash
Sure.
throughout the years. That could be like Silver Age or something. I don't know, but regardless, to me, the thing that doesn't the premise that kind of leaves me hanging is these kids get powers
and don't question it at all.
They don't question it. They don't do anything too exciting with them. Like they're not good kids.
You got to keep going.
Well, I understand, and that's what I'm expecting. But I'm glad you just said that, because if it just was them constantly still doing chores, despite having
always
these powers,
killing their probation officer.
Yeah,
they're on probation officer number 3.
But it is one of those.
I'm just gonna sit here and not say a word, boy.
Oh God, we should have done this one a long time ago. I didn't know what catered. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of the my only gripe with it so far is you got kids who, not all of them are like, some of them are just not good people to start with, and then I just, like, if I got powers, if I could fly, I'd be flying around. I would be abusing my power all day.
Well, they do abuse their power, and almost every one of them in the first few episodes abuse their power and then go, oh, I shouldn't have abused the power. And they rein it in a bit. But I agree with you. I don't think people would do that. I think people would abuse their power and keep abusing their power.
I thought the creep guy abused his. He
did, Nathan.
Yeah.
Oh, not Nathan. Simon.
Yeah, the sex girl person did
She abused hers
bit,
to begin with.
But her power is not very abusable. And the only reason I say this is because it doesn't look pleasant. It's not like she's like, I want this person to love me.
Well, so when she does it the first couple times,
for some reason, apparently this guy's got a piss
that was his kink. But
yeah.
the first couple times she does it, it's consensual on her side, and it's some of them are sensual or exactly what she wants. It's only when she starts touching a lot of people at once.
Yeah, it sounds like her superpower is literally the worst one.
Yeah,
out of all of them, yeah. But keep watching.
Yeah. So I did, when I had Googled what are the powers on the show, there was like a list of like 50. So it also mentioned something about buying powers. So I don't know. This is weird.
It's called the power broker. You'll get there eventually.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah. It's his power to be able to take and give.
Yeah.
So.
Take and give.
Yeah.
I think that's the sex girl's power.
Yeah.
So there's not really a main villain in this, and there's not throughout this whole show, or the whole series. There's not. It's an episodic thing, but you kind of need the other episodes to kind of know what's going on.
I would have thought Simon became the main villain, honestly, so far.
God, you need to keep watching. I want to talk to you. If you guys get through season 2, and especially season 3, we don't even have to talk about it on the podcast. I want to talk about it again to see what you guys thought, because your whole perspective will change on everything, which is great about it's one of the reasons I love this show, because my perspective changed 2 or 3 times while watching it, for who these characters are, for their motivations, for the story they were trying to give, and not to mention it's super fucking funny.
Yeah, I have enjoyed it so far.
I'm pretty sure the first season Nathan sleeps with the young girl who turns into the old girl.
Yeah, when he's banging her. Yeah, that was good.
It was hilarious. There's so many moments of like that throughout that, or where Nathan's mom is banging a guy that kind of turns into a dog. Yeah. And he tries to take a picture of him, and it's just all the guy's massive cock.
Well,
and they make the joke.
He's like, there's cock and balls and the taint.
the anus.
Yeah.
There's just so many moments of that, of just where I just thoroughly enjoyed everything.
The cock and ball and anus part?
You know it. Do you guys think that this is a show you will continue, or do you think this is the one that you stop with?
It's hard to say. Like I said, it sounds like it will be something that keeps me entertained, and I will stick with it. But like you already told us, season 3-ish, we might fall off.
You might. I didn't. I kept watching. Yeah. But I
at
know...
that point, I might be invested enough to just power through. But...
Yes. What about you, Mike? Think it'll be something that you keep watching?
Yeah, I mean, I got my old lady invested in it now, and now she wants to watch it, so we'll probably just binge watch it until the end.
Yeah. So let's talk about closing thoughts about these. Well, I don't even want to talk about closing thoughts about these 3 shows. I want to talk about closing thoughts of this podcast. We're 25 episodes in. We've been meeting weekly for it's more than 25 weeks, as we had some times where we just talked about the podcast before we started it to make sure we actually want to do it. What are our ideas? Did you know that 90% of all podcasts don't make it past episode 3? And we're on episode 25. And of those
they
ones
probably
that
care about how many viewers they have.
the first 3 were very promising.
Yeah.
And then after that, 90% of the ones that get past episode 3 don't make it past episode 20. And we are 5 episodes past episode
You like
20.
the NFL channel with your stats here.
I pulled it out because this is the 25th special.
I quit.
Why not?
I'm out.
You're out?
I
This is
quit.
all it took?
Yeah, Ringo. I'm out.
Okay. That's all it took. Give Mike the stats, and he's
Yep.
like, I don't like it no more. I got to be like everybody else.
I don't want to be in the top 5%.
So how do you guys feel podcast-wise? Still liking it? Still, we obviously, with us, all of us being nerds and shit, there's so much that we've been talking about and still so much more coming up that we're going to have to talk about. At a certain point, I'm going to need shelves or a bigger table for all these Funko.
I'm going to start taking the ones I like
No.
the Cylon.
No, the
I mean,
Cylon's
we could
brand
definitely
new.
build shelves. That's no problem.
Yeah, we'll probably have to do that so they get
Yeah,
put up
we
somewhere.
can.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll build some shelves.
We got this.
But no, like it's 25 times we're doing this. We've only missed 2 weeks, I think, and one because I was on vacation, one because I was sick. Otherwise, we've made it either with getting Casey or with Mike and I have just done the one-on-one. If Mike's not available, you and I could do a one-on-one if Casey's not available. So how are you
I
guys?
don't want to do a one-on-one with you.
All right,
Same.
fuck you. I will do one with myself. The cat's
I'm
over
gonna
there
do
on the
both
casting
of them.
couch, so we'll be fine together. That'll be the one that gets aired on like actual video.
Oh, yeah.
You've got a fanny on your casting couch.
But no, what do you guys feel for 25 episodes in? How you feeling about the podcast?
I think the best way to sum it up is it's just been pretty good.
Is
good.
it good?
Pretty
Hate
good.
you guys every time. Only pretty good? Not even a good?
It's pretty good.
Nah.
Sometimes you get really angry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
And then it's
Corey.
great.
Oh, okay.
No, you've gotten angry at him,
Oh, that's
too. And vice versa, actually, to be fair.
You've gotten angry at me.
Well, yeah, you deserve it, though.
For the 30th episode, I'm getting you some like blood pressure medication.
I know.
No, what we all need to do is we need to get 3 blood pressure cuffs, and while we're doing the podcast, just
I feel
see
like
what
mine
spikes.
is fine.
Oh, not the other time when we were having the conversation about the opinion thing.
Yours you'd have literally blown the blood pressure
No,
cuff
that-
off your arm.
Yeah,
The
you
best
would've done
one was when you were saying, like, he was loud. And that,
Oh, we got so
which
mad.
made me laugh even harder. I was just egging it on because you're just as loud as he is to
I mean,
me.
again, I'm not based on actual facts.
I don't know
and
how
stats.
you set up the mics. I'm telling
They're set up in the same.
I'm just telling you as a third-party observer to both of you. You are both loud, which usually means I get muted out, which is fine. But it's just like I'm not very loud, so I've accepted it.
Good
What?
story. Thanks.
I don't agree with that at all.
You don't think
agree
he's
with that?
loud? Or you don't think
You
that
think I am
he's
loud?
Yeah.
I think you have the ability to talk over people.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, but
I
that's
do
not.
that.
I don't consider that
Well,
loud.
he says he gets muted out.
I get drowned out, is what I said.
Yeah,
and
no,
I,
you didn't say drown.
I
You
said
meant
muted.
drown. Yeah, I think you meant drown because
Is
we
that-
talk up.
I meant the same thing.
Muted
yeah.
means you don't talk at all. Drown means you're talking, but you can't hear you over us.
Yes, sure. That's
Yes.
what I meant. Yeah, drowned out.
Drowned out.
Yeah. You don't agree with that?
No.
What if that's his opinion, Mike?
Well,
Is
being
it
loud
wrong?
is my superpower, so now what?
I thought your superpower was supposed to be that things would come to you from the fridge.
I went to the deal broker and got a new
the
one.
power broker, damn it.
Spoiler.
The power broker, yeah. I got a new one. Now I'm loud.
Yeah.
All right.
KJ's power is being right about my own life.
I know.
Things that have occurred.
I am
He's
right.
like, you didn't see it back
80%
in May."
of the
It's like,
time.
I was there. I lived
You don't
it.
know
You
about
misspeak a lot. What
I
do you
lived
want
it,
from me?
dog.
You don't know shit about you.
You misspeak a lot.
My favorite
I-
color is blue. No, it's not.
I disagree.
If I say that you said, oh, just the other day you said it was green, I would absolutely call you out on that.
It's I disagree. First of all,
It's true.
my favorite color is blue. I disagree.
The best part is he says that, like, right, KJ will be like, I disagree with you, like, I would disagree with you, but if I say agree to disagree, he loses his mind because he's like, no. You're
Yeah,
not
but when I say I
entitled to
disagree, I'm expecting then to have a conversation about why I disagree and then why you disagree with my disagreement.
But
with you say
it
I
doesn't matter.
agree to disagree, it just ends it. What's the fun in that?
Because there's no point in debating it. You're never going to change your mind.
That's
True.
not true. I've changed my mind when you guys prove me wrong.
Yeah,
with the
but
other
if
thing.
it's
I changed my mind.
if it's a memory of something
it's
that
in
happened,
the podcast.
No. But I'm saying if it's a memory of something that happened a month ago, and you're saying I mentioned it to you or something, and I'm saying you didn't, you're never changing my mind. I'm never changing.
I
yours.
could change your mind if I had the raw data, but I edit the podcast. It's in one of the podcasts.
Yeah, well, guess you'll have to listen back to some podcasts.
No, all that's edited. It's gone.
Oh, it's
like
gone.
the raw
How
data is gone.
convenient. He cut it out.
I don't see you listening to any of
No.
these. I have to talk to you people and then listen to us talk to each other.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna agree to disagree.
You're welcome. You enjoy it.
It's a great, promotion for this podcast when I'm complaining about listening to it.
Yeah.
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 Feels like a good place to end. So next week we'll be talking about Black Adam. We should have Casey with us. I believe he said he was coming.
I guess so.
Yep. So we'll do Black Adam next week.